That's sourdough Sam.
No, Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam. Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Disrespect to Sourdeath Sam will not continue.
Wow, 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 wow. What's up, everyone? How are we doing? Good to see people already lively in the chat. We got Jen Sweeney coming out hot. She says, I'm just going to say it now. Fuck the Chiefs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? If you don't know who I am Sourdeath Sam, and it is a pleasure to be here serving you what will be a very enjoyable episode. We've got a fantastic guest coming on, Rob Stats Guerrera. That's right. One of my favorite things about this season is the circle is growing bigger. I have been lucky enough to have the pleasure of connecting with some amazing folks, Rob being one of them, and I'm excited to get his input. Valued member of the 49ers content community, absolute G, absolute legend. And really excited to be having this show on the heels of a win. And it was a big win, which seems to be the case a lot when we play the Seahawks lately, which is really cathartic. Like, I really feel like we need those wins when we get them. I think the Thanksgiving one in particular had a special taste. But this one equally as valuable. I wouldn't say equally as valuable, but sorry, piece of dust on me. Very valuable as we needed to get some momentum going into these very important games that we have coming up. As I reflect on our performance against the Seahawks, obviously it was great to see George Kittle, catching all of his targets, getting those touchdowns. Very signature Kittle, seeing him sort of just be the big dog that he is. And Deebo doing his thing as well. But what was interesting was seeing Guerrera sort of have to step in. Obviously, Jordan Mason, 9 carries, 73 yards, but then obviously got hurt there. Currently is day-to-day. But Guerrera coming in. At first, the results left a little bit to be desired, but 76, rips off a 76-yard run in a very crucial moment for us, and can't fault him for that. He did what he was supposed to do, and he's a rookie. Give him time to find his space, find his vision, get into his flow, and we'll see where it goes from there. Popping Jen up again, Jen Sweeney. I'm nervous about Mason, Deebo, and JJ on the injury report. I am too. I think Jordan Mason is obviously a very, very, very important piece to this puzzle. Deebo as well, obviously a monster game. I feel like Deebo is often on the injury report and ends up coming through. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those seasons where he's always playing through something. This bye week might be happening at a very good time. I'm just hoping that he can hang on as we match up against the Chiefs and the Cowboys here. And then obviously what's interesting about Juwan Jennings is, and we'll talk about this later in the show, is I'm very intrigued to see what Ricky Pearsall might be able to provide as a means of relief, perhaps, for some of these receivers who could use maybe a couple plays off, may need the whole game off. So we'll see where that goes. I'm interested in chatting it up with a friend you all know and love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that man is Kyle 5000. Kyle, baby, what's going on, dude? Congrats on the win. How you feeling about that dub?
Jesus Christ, we needed that win. Holy fuck. Deebo was cooking. Kittle was cooking. If we can just tie it all together with Ayuk and keep our running backs healthy, we'll be in business. But now we've got the Chiefs. If you thought I did a lot of drinking before the Super Bowl, imagine how fucking blitzed I got after that loss. But whatever. We're here now. Fuck it. We ball.
You and me both, brother. You and me both. A lot of drinking had that night by many of us. But, you know, I think this Chiefs team is showing vulnerabilities. I think we have the capability to beat them now, just as we did before. How you feeling? You know, personally, I think we got that in the bag if we're playing at our best. But, you know, we do have Rob Stats coming on. I do want to know if you've got any words for him before I bring him on. Friend of the show, just want to see what you think.
Rob Stats. He's the man. I saw him on Kay Adams' show, who may or may not be my celebrity crush. Rob knows ball, and I'm excited for him to be on the show. Just hoping you guys say nice things about me.
Oh, we always say nice things about you, Kyle 5000.
Yes,
Kyle 5000, everyone. Fucking curmudgeon piece of shit. Hope he is got the game plan dialed up. Haywire says, I hope Kyle 5000 knows he just beat Best. Oh, yeah. I hope Kyle 5000 knows he just beat Geno and not Russ. Yeah. I mean, Russ wasn't exactly playing top-tier Russell Wilson towards the end of his Seattle days either. But nonetheless, a dub is a dub, and we love a good dub. All right. Let's go. Let's talk about a dog of the motherfucking day.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
All right, guys. Big dog of the day. That's got to be Deebo. That's got to be Deebo.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
102 yards, a touchdown. But guess what? Those are 102 yards off of 3 receptions. What? Come on, man. That's crazy. That's some big dog shit. That's some big dog shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
You got to respect it. Big game Deebo. It happens all the time. He has this magnetic field that just clings to big games. It happens all the time. Pretty much if it's a game where there are no other games around it, like a Monday night or a Thursday night football game, bet the fucking over on whatever it is, Deebo, because he always comes through. And I got to give credit to Jason Aponte. He totally called that out ahead of time. I thought it was going to be a big Ayuk game. I still think he's got the opportunity against the Chiefs to have his game, and maybe that's more poetic justice for him. But Deebo, baby. Deebo. Haywire says perennial dog. Deebo Samuel, perennial big dog of the day.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
Oh, yeah. God, it feels so good to be off a win, man. I got to tell you, Deebo, man, killed it. You know what? I think it's time to talk about some sports betting. Let's do that. Sourdeath Sam's $5 pick'em. Everyone's favorite parlay that burns into a crisp immediately upon submitting them. For what it's worth, it's been 6 games of the regular season so far. I have made $15. So if it's 6 times 5, that's 30. I'm only down $15, y'all. That's responsible. But you know what? I could be up over a G if this one hits. In fact, all of my $5 pick'ems, you can win over 1,000. And you know what? I like those odds. Those odds are terrible, but I like them because I'm only putting $5 to play with them. This is what I got. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown getting a touchdown. And I'm always going for touchdowns usually, so I'll never win. Amon-Ra, I got him getting a touchdown. I got Jordan Addison getting a touchdown. I got Tank Dell getting a touchdown. Same with Saquon against the Giants. Come on, man. You know he wants that so bad, brother. So bad. Devon Achane, I got him coming back. He's off a bye. I know he was a little hurt, but I think that team is going to get him in the end zone. That's probably my riskiest pick, but whatever. Fuck it, we ball. Terry McLaurin, got him getting a touchdown. Same with Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to put him on this list until he gets it. And Brock Bowers, I got him getting a touchdown. If you want some of this action, if you think you are a big dog of your own day, go to bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. That's bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Let me tell you what's going to happen. First deposit is going to be matched in bonus cash up to $1,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Believe that, brother. So bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Go and get your money. All right. Enough talk about sports betting. Let's talk about what really matters, which is the goddamn 49ers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm going to bring in a legend right now. My homie, friend of the show, Rob Stats Guerrera. What's going on? Uh-oh, echo. Not again. Hold on.
Are you having echo problems too? Because I have them sometimes. I don't know what's up.
You know what? Oh, no. Yes, I'm having echo problems. Let me see. It might be on your... Echo has become a feature of this show. Let me see if it's a input problem maybe on your end. Let me see.
Off to a good start.
Yes. Wait. Did it work?
Neck.
Chat, is echo gone? I think the echo is gone. We're gonna find out.
All right.
Okay. So first of all, want to know how you're doing? How are things?
Well, I'm doing good now because I've been wanting to be on this show for like over a year. So I'm glad you finally made time for me.
Oh, you stop that. You're just saying that.
I think you got every Niners content creator. Did you run out and then you were like, oh shit, we got to have stats on the show?
No, man. I've been wanting you for a while. Hold on. Echo. Apparently the echo got worse. Hold on. Oh, it's just me. Okay. Jesus Christ. God, I can never do this. And I changed my settings and everything to work. Well, how about this? I'm the only one who's echoing. Why don't you tell everyone about your week so far? And I'm going to see if I can fix this.
Okay. My week so far has been doing my weekly ritual, which is rewatching the Super Bowl. I know people think I'm crazy. I rewatch the Super Bowl every week. I rewatch the 29 Super Bowl every week for like a year. I rewatched the 2012 Super Bowl loss every week for about a year. So fired it up again. Sad as I am, I know I'm a deeply disturbed individual. Got through that. Still amazed that the 49ers, their average yards to go on third down in the first half of the Super Bowl was 12.75. If they had spiked the ball twice on first and second down in the first half, they'd have fewer yards to go on third than they actually had in the game. They were always behind the sticks in that game. And so, when I look at this week, you have to get something on first and second down if you're going to actually move the ball. Otherwise, Spagnuolo's going to eat your lunch again. You can't live in third and long against him.
I agree. And I'm also scared to talk because I'm so scared I'm going to echo, which I am. Hold on. Let me see. Does this help?
Sounds fine to me.
This would happen again with a guy. Let me see if it's maybe your monitoring settings. I'm so sorry, dude. Let me see if I can check on your end. Let me do a test. Is my echo gone when I mute Rob? Because I can unmute him when he's ready to jump in and talk. Like it's a presidential debate. Chat, you let me know. Because if that's what I got to do, I'm going to do it. Okay, that's how it's going down. Perfect. So, Rob, we're going to start with this. We took on the Seahawks in a moment where we needed a W, and we got one, 36-24 on Thursday Night Football. I want to know, how bad did we need that win, and what did you walk away most impressed with?
That was the season. They needed that win. If they had lost that, you could forget the season. They would have been 0-3 in the division. They would have had 4 losses in the NFC. Like, that was the year. It was they were like, well, it's not really a make or break or a must-win game. Yes, it was. Okay. Yes, it was. Bosa acknowledged it. Many 49ers acknowledged it. Kyle Shanahan wanted to get into the technicalities. Fuck all that. It was a must-win game. Okay. We all know it. And they got it done. It's a little frustrating that it feels like this team always has to have their back against the wall to get them all to play seriously, but they did it. And now they got to bring that same attitude against the Chiefs, and that's what Bosa said today. He was like, we got to play every week like that. It's going to be on him and Fred and Brock, frankly, to get these guys in that mental state, because they're right. They do have to bring it like that every week, especially because this year's team is not nearly as good as last year's team.
100%. And what I wonder is, if a loss in that game and a loss against the Chief would have turned us, and we'll get into this later, but would have turned us from buyers into sellers when it came to the trade deadline. Because maybe the Seahawks could have been palatable, but if we lost, all 3 of those games right before the deadline, you have to believe they considered it. But instead, we don't have that reality. We have Brock Purdy with 3 touchdowns, continuing to be impressive under pressure. And then we have George Kittle obviously having a big game. His 2 touchdowns, didn't drop a single pass, caught all of them, total of 58 yards. And then we've got Bosa, who 14 pressures is a lot of pressures in a game. And I think that, and it's the most by a pass rusher since he did it in 2022. So there were positives from that game just beyond the score. Now, again, you're right. I mean, I think the question is it going to carry over? But was there anything that surprised you on the Seahawks game before we go on to sort of the bigger topics against the Chiefs?
I think I was surprised at the defense a little bit. They got the pressure. The secondary kind of stepped up in a big way. Renardo Green being a massive part of that. Malik Mustafa getting an interception on the first possession of the game. I had thought going into the year that this was maybe the best secondary that Kyle Shanahan had ever had with the 49ers. And then the season started, and I was like, well, you're an idiot. But maybe I was not wrong. Maybe I was just early instead of wrong. I don't know. Maybe they're rounding into form a little bit. If we could finally pull Isaac Adams' ass off the field and put Renardo Green out there full time, I think that would help. But the secondary, I think, made some strides in this game. Fred Warner described the defense and Nick Sorensen as sort of going through growing pains early in the year. Well, it's week 7 now. We should be past that, and maybe they are, and hopefully they can keep that up this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the growing pains thing has been a very interesting thing for 49ers fans to reckon with, because we have been, obviously with the exception of last year, but even last year wasn't the worst defense in the league by any stretch. I think we've been spoiled by defenses that have constantly been so formidable that they have literally sucked the joy out of quarterbacks' eyes week after week. It was actually one of my favorite things to watch as a 49ers fan was when I just saw a team just give up right before my very eyes. And we haven't had that at all this season. That's not to say we haven't. I mean, Fred Warner is putting on Defensive Player of the Year performances quite often. And, you would hope that energy spreads amongst the team, which he certainly does his best, and certainly other players are stepping up. I was very pleased to see rookies stepping up, and I think that's also part of the equation, is that there's kind of a bit of a shuffle going on, at especially in the safety position, where our former All-Pro comes back, kind of gets hurt, wasn't even really looking like himself when he came back. And then, we're trying to sort of find our identity back there. And then Malik Mustafa comes in and delivers in a way that I thought was really impressive. So that is definitely one of the areas I'm most focused on against the Chiefs game. I'm trying to play hard to get about going into our Chiefs topics yet, because we do have other ones to get into. But very, very, very pleased to see some glimmers there when it came to our defense performing.
I agree completely. It was nice to see a little bit of hope. You know what? Hang on 1 second.
Oh yeah.
Let me just take off this hoodie really quick. Okay. Now I feel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Take that off. Okay. Now I'm comfortable. Now I feel like we can really talk about the upcoming game.
You showed up for this wearing the right attire.
I have to break out the good stuff for you, Sam. The defense. Yeah, look, they were third in the league in points allowed last year. Everyone talks about, the Chiefs' defense was so great last year. Yeah, they were. They gave up 17.3 points per game last season. The Niners' defense gave up 17.5 points per game the last season. They were really good, even though Wilkes took a bunch of crap. So we know that the potential is there, right? They've gotten that from Fred Warner. They've gotten it from Nick Bosa this year. They've gotten it from Diamador Lenore this year. They haven't really gotten it from anybody else. It's time to step the hell up, right? Like, you talked about wanting to play 49er defense and your system and all that stuff. Well, we need it, and we need it now.
100%. And Devondre Campbell, step up, brother. We need you. And if we can't get it, then we might have to look elsewhere.
He sucks. Get rid of him. He can't do it. He can't do it. Like, it's not like, maybe. No, he's old and he's cooked. That's just the reality of the situation. The more D winners we get, the better.
Rich Madrid called that out early for what it's worth. And boy, was he right. Okay, we are going to move on to an interesting topic here, which is how are we looking at this trade deadline? Obviously, it's, the big ticket names. Obviously, it felt like it was predetermined that we were going to have a wide receiver go to the Jets, who everybody knows. But I'm curious to know, in your mind, are there any names in free agency in the trade market that the 49ers may be sniffing at, as we are 20 days away from our November 5th deadline?
Yeah, 3 weeks away on Tuesday from the deadline. I'd like to see them go after a defensive lineman, maybe Azeez Ojulari from the Giants. I'd like to see them check in on some guys that maybe aren't available. Like, I know Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, came out today and said, hey, it's not happening with a Max Crosby trade. Well, you know what, John Lynch? Pick up the phone. Everybody's got a price, right? You give him I would throw in a couple first-round picks for Max Crosby? Absolutely. Hell yeah. What the hell do I care about a first-round pick in 2025, all right? I'm living and dying with this year. Can you imagine Max Crosby and Nick Bosa on the opposite ends of the defensive line? You want to talk about watching the soul leave a quarterback's eyes? My God, that's the stuff of nightmares. So if I'm John Lynch, yeah, sure, you can have it. Great, do it. If you got to throw somebody else in there to make it happen, I'm saying I'd consider it. If that someone was George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, I would do it, quite frankly. Now, Deebo's contract is crazy, so they're not trading him. But, to get Max Crosby, I think that could be the difference between winning the NFC and not winning the NFC. So, Lynch is going to do it. He's going to call anyway. This is a guy that called for Tom Brady, right? He's going to inquire. Pick up the phone. It costs you nothing. Maybe Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati. I don't know if I said that already. DJ Jones from Denver, I think, would make some sense and probably wouldn't be super crazy, although Denver's 3-3 right now. So you may have to wait over the next 3 weeks to see if they drop a couple more games, and then maybe they're sort of in seller mode. But I think those – and you know what else I would do? Call me crazy again, whatever. Pick up the phone, and I call Cleveland, and I say, what would it take to get Myles Garrett? You tell me the price. And if it's crazy, it's crazy. But just tell me the price and let me see what I can do on my end, right? Again, what does it cost you to call? The Browns are going nowhere. And they're going nowhere for the foreseeable future because Deshaun Watson's contract is immovable and untradeable. So is it worth a call? I think it is.
It's funny you say the Browns. I think Zadarius Smith is a name to maybe consider. Less attractive. Obviously, Myles Garrett would steal the show. And the Browns, brother, they need help. I think the immediate sellers from this past week were was clearly Jacksonville. So I feel like if anyone is starting to look, they're starting on that roster and they're saying, well, is there anyone left that we think they could part with? Let me look at these contracts. But over the next 2 weeks, we're going to see which GMs are going to throw in the white, pull up the white flag. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, DJ Jones, I think, is anytime you can bring a former 49er in, they know what they're getting. They sort of have a rough idea as far as like, what the depreciation is on what they're expecting from that player as far as performance. Talk about bringing people back, depending on how depleted our running back room is or will be. Mostert, Jeff Wilson, are you willing to come back? MJD threw that out. We'll see. I think they feel more featured perhaps in Miami, and that may factor into things, but you never know. Miami might feel otherwise and want to trade it back. The one name that never really feels right in my gut when I hear it, because it's been tossed around. I want to know what you think before we go to the next topic. Hassan Reddick has been thrown out there. And there's just something about that feels like not only could that be risky, like that could just totally just sink the energy that I think this team is trying to build. I want to know, what were your thoughts when you maybe came across some people throwing that out there?
Two things. One, what kind of shape is he in? All we heard with Trent Williams and Ayuk and Bosa was they weren't in football shape because they held out and they didn't play. Well, Hassan Reddick hasn't been playing. Is he going to need 3 weeks to ramp up after not joining the team till, week 8 or week 9? I don't love that situation. But more importantly, Sam, I don't like the juju. I don't want Hassan Reddick in the locker room near Brock Purdy. I don't like it. I just feel like if that happens, there's just this potential for bad stuff to happen. And yes, I'm pulling out the sound effects in your honor because you're not the only one with the toys here. You're making me jealous.
I appreciate that so much. And I can't deploy my sound effects until I mute you. So I was sitting there just wanting to be in it so bad. But I am so grateful I've got a buddy in the sound effect industry here on 49ers Public Access. All right. Enough trade deadline. That's coming up later. I'm sure that a lot of things will heat up as we get closer. But one thing that is right here in front of us is Ricky fucking Pearsall back in the building. He's running routes. He's looking crisp. He looks like he's in shape. I'm not worried about him. Obviously, the shoulder wrap looked a little concerning. But I am kind of curious to know, what do you think he can deliver in this portion of our season? Do you think he can be fresh legs for us? How do you think he can contribute? Sort of from your vantage point, how do you see this fresh new addition of our first round pick of a pretty nice draft class? How do you see him sort of fitting in, and what do you expect from him?
So it's interesting because Niners don't historically love to play rookies, especially wide receivers. Like Kyle is very hard on receivers. He missed basically everything in the preseason because of the shoulder. Now, Kyle did say the shoulder was 100% before the shooting. So I guess the shoulder is not a concern. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. But Niners are a little banged up at receiver right now. Deebo was limited today with a wrist injury, which was, it's funny. As soon as they said he had a wrist injury, I flashed back to that Seattle game because there was that play where he just got hit or something. And remember, he was like shaking out his arm. It was really weird, but he only missed like one play. So I didn't think it was a big deal, but apparently it's something. Juwan Jennings didn't practice with a hip injury. So all of a sudden, maybe the 49ers have like more of a need at wide receiver than we think. Because I didn't think Pearsall was going to have a shot to make the field, but maybe now, who knows? I hope he lives up to the promise that he had. He's supposed to be a guy with good hands. He's supposed to be a guy that can separate. I've yet to see him play it down in the NFL, so I don't freaking know. But look, we've seen the Niners receivers struggle to separate at multiple times this year, different receivers at different times. If he lives up to his stock, that'd be a huge boost because they need more guys that can do that, frankly.
And I want to be. I'm just a serial optimist. Well, I kind of dabble as a pessimist and an optimist. It really just depends on my mood that morning. In this particular case, I'm actually an optimist. I think it's almost, I love the fact that nobody has like the NFL tape on him. And I love the fact that he's fresh legs and not like, oh, like we're going to scheme against Ricky Pearsall. I mean, at the end of the day, the DBs are going to cover him as they would, they're going to handle business as they would normally handle business. But what I love is I love the fact that he's somewhat of an unknown of an already promising draft class. And depending on sort of where you were getting your feedback from, there was intrigue, there was promise, and I don't know. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to take if people want to give me the red pill and take me down the Matrix rabbit hole where I'm miserable, no, I want the blue Ricky Pearsall pill. I want that steak to taste fucking delicious. I want everything to feel perfect. Because guess what? He might be a dog, and I actually think he really might be. Here's the thing that I know I can appreciate about him coming in is that one of the things that they loved about him coming out was that he was a blocker, that he was comfortable blocking. And I know that if we are going to see this guy on the field, it's going to be as a result of him knowing his assignment when it comes to blocking. And that's not something he's a stranger to. So what I'm hoping for is at minimum, he has demonstrated enough retention of what Kyle Shanahan needs out of him when he's not running routes, so that when he gets a chance to get out there and do his thing, that Lord help us, Lord help the defense of any other team if Kyle is capable of scheming his incredible route running into the right place and he has the sticky hands that he was known for.
Can I just ask you a question really quick? Because I completely agree with you. Doesn't it annoy the hell out of you that we don't know exactly how Ricky Pearsall looked in the limited action we saw him? Because you said it, right? Depending on where you got your news. Some people said Ricky Pearsall was having trouble separating. Other people that cover this team said Ricky Pearsall looks great. As someone that lives 3,000 miles away in Connecticut like I do, I just want to know what the hell is going on. Like, just can't we, like, how can it be both? Like, just tell me the truth of what is going on. But we still don't know. It entirely depends on who you follow, and that drives me nuts about this team.
100%. And you know what? It's that's just the way it is. I mean, we have this dichotomy of how this team is perceived, and you kind of need to find the signal through the noise sometimes. And sometimes it's about, okay, whose track record do I sort of lean on the most? Truthfully, it kind of ends up falling into the Mayoko Barrows sort of lane for me. But for other people, it could be it could be Grant for some people. It could be Lombardi for some people. And you just have to sort of, you have to choose the set of binoculars that you believe is the most trustworthy narrator and go with it. But even then, even sometimes Mayoko, you have to think, well, he does have the most access. Is there some exchange here of like what he may or may not be able to say? But I don't think in any shape or form Mayoko is a plant. You know what I mean? I don't think he's out there just mouthpiecing. But maybe I'm naive. I don't know.
I have referred to him as 49ers mouthpiece Matt Mayoko, so full disclosure there. I think for the most part, he's putting out exactly what the team wants him to. I don't think that maybe they necessarily say, Matt, tweet this, say this. But he's not putting anything out there that they have a problem with. I'll say that. But it shouldn't be this difficult for us as fans. It should not be this hard to find out what is going on with this team. Like, if you're a fan of the Jets or the Eagles or any other team, I feel like you may not like the news that you hear, but it's not hard to see what direction things are going. And yet, with the 49ers, like, if you only followed one or two beat writers, you might have a completely skewed idea of what is happening. And that bothers me greatly as a fan.
And, that's actually that's a really, really good point. And the short, I always just look for the aggregate, right? I try to find, whenever there's consensus, I feel good about something. Whenever there's kind of split on something, I'm not so good. And then sometimes, when you're really getting lip service and I'm like, oh, this is probably not going well at all. Like, on one hand, and Grant's a friend of the show, and I would say this to his face. On one hand, there's times where I'm like, Grant, stop, bro. Like, that is insane. But there have been times where Grant has been the canary in the coal mine on things that I, as a fan, wasn't ready to accept. Like when players are no longer in their prime, right? Like when Navarro Bowman was just not Navarro Bowman anymore. Grant was the first person to be like, he doesn't have it anymore. And I was like, there's no way. This is, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, I love Navarro Bowman, but he was right. And so sometimes the voices you might trust the least are sometimes the only voices who are ready to say the truth. And then sometimes the voices that you think always tell the truth may just be operating in a position of, well, my access is directly tethered to the art of me ensuring that I am molding what I print to achieve an objective for the organization that has granted me that access. So it's difficult, and you're right. It is really hard to sort of get that sort of straight shot of what it is you're looking for, because even the people who may have the most access may not always be delivering shot no chaser.
It's almost easier to be a fan during the regular season because we can see the games, right? Like we can watch for ourselves, and we can take what people say and balance that against what we ourselves have seen. Now, I think part of that does include like trying to watch as much film as you can as a fan too, like not just watching the broadcast, because there are things that you miss. But it's almost easier from that perspective because I don't have to just like take anybody's word for it, right? I can rewatch the game. I can go to the film if there's film of it and judge for myself whether what they're saying is good or bad. And that kind of helps me in the future too. Like, hey, this person was right when they said X, Y, and Z. Maybe I trust them a little more. Or, hey, this person was completely, totally wrong when they must have been day drinking when they said this. So maybe I trust them a little less in the future. In the preseason, or at least like training camp, I'm not there at training camp. I don't know what the hell is going on, so it's very, very difficult for me. But at least in the regular season, we could see for ourselves. I always like to say the games are not private. They're on TV. And I think sometimes like some in the 49ers beat tend to forget that. We could see with our own eyes what the hell is going on.
Completely agree. And I think the sort of gamesmanship of being behind closed curtain disappears, because you're right. It's right there before our eyes, and perhaps that's why they're a little bit more cagey during training camp, is because they know, hey, let's not shatter this kid's confidence. We need to get them ready for prime time. I'll never forget when the reports are coming out about, and God bless him, but when the reports are coming out about Trey Lance when he first got here, and he's like, oh, Trey Lance. This dude's the one. I've never seen a rookie just come in and do what he did. Do what he did in training camp. I'm like, this guy's gonna be fucking. He's the next one. Like the chosen one. And then it didn't pan out that way. But I hear you.
Matt Mayoko said it was the best rookie quarterback he's ever seen. That was Matt Mayoko that said that. The longest tenured 49ers beat writer. Best.
It to this day, I feel like I would simp for Matt. Like, part of me is thinking like, no, he meant it. Like he maybe just things changed, but I don't know. We're on this topic now. So any last thoughts on the 49ers media market before we go into the Chiefs?
I would say no. I would say just get your info from as many sources as possible. In fact, like the state of the 49ers beat is part of the reason I wanted to do what I do at the Gold Standard Network, because I would put our 49ers coverage up against anybody's, because I feel like there wouldn't be a market for what we do if the 49ers beat wasn't as weird as it is. So thanks to them, because now I get to pay my bills doing this, which is pretty damn cool.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Gold
sir.
Standard Network, baby. All right, we're moving on to the final topic of the evening, which is we have a game against the Chiefs, so I hear. And that team happened to hand us a loss in the Super Bowl, a loss that you, for some sick, sadistic reason, have decided to rewatch for some sick reason. So I want to kind of get your perspective as someone who was brave enough to watch that game again before this matchup. Based on what you saw from that game, is there anything you want to see or not see carry over as we face them this week?
100%. Don't let the game be taken away by somebody else. Don't sit back and wait for the game to come to you. Go take it. Because I feel like we can see how this one's going to be, Sam. It's going to be third quarter. Niners are going to be up 10. They're going to be driving down the field, just kicking ass. No third downs, right? First, just chunk play. Brock to Kittle. Jordan Mason run for 8. Brock to Jennings. Just moving down the field. Boom, boom, boom. Then there'll be like some sort of stupid-ass penalty, and it'll be like 3rd and 10. Niners will throw a short pass. They'll gain 8. They'll be at the Chiefs' like 40-yard line, be halfway through the third quarter. 4th and 3. Kyle's going to roll out the field goal kicker, who at this point looks like it might be Anders Carlson, which God help us if it is, because he sucks. And he's going to try and kick the field goal. And he's going to try and say, great, 13-point lead. Defense is going to stop him and hold him. And the Chiefs are going to make a couple plays, and they're going to come right back in it. And all of a sudden, it's going to be chaos again at the end of the game. What I want to see Kyle do is realize who he's up against and realize you can't let it be anywhere close. If you give them any life at all, they are going to come back and steal this game. We've seen it with lesser teams this year. Hell, we saw it with the Cardinals. We saw it with the Rams. They're terrible. They couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie, yet they did it against the 49ers, all right? Go for it on 4th down. Don't kick a field goal between 20 and 29 yards in this game. Field goals are failures. I say it all the time on every show I host. You have to go take the game, Kyle. Do not leave it up to Patrick Mahomes. Do not think that a 10-point lead or a 13-point lead is safe, or even a 16-point lead. That's still a 2-score game. Don't do it. You have to go for the kill, and hopefully he does.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything except that field goals are failures, because my favorite player on the team is the kicker who's injured right now, so I hope he's doing well. Jake Moody, if you're listening, I love you, baby. Listen, last time we played the Chiefs, our leading running back was Christian McCaffrey. Last time we played the Chiefs, our leading wide receiver was Christian McCaffrey. We need to discover how our offense works without Christian McCaffrey in this game in a way that feels very potent and very well distributed. We need Kittle to not be invisible. The last time we played the Chiefs, he had 2 catches out of 3 targets, and the total yardage from both of them was 4 yards. We need people to deliver themselves out of the purgatory of the Chiefs defense. And I think a lot of that is going to come down. And here's the thing is, I think going into the Super Bowl, I was worried about like, oh, is the moment too big for Brock Purdy? Like he's still young, blah, blah, blah. Brock Purdy looked like he belonged in that Super Bowl. Like it got pretty much after that first like couple series, he was the least of my concerns. It was just clear to me that we were just struggling to get some important playmakers going, not named Christian McCaffrey. So as we go into this game, I'm looking for Ayuk to sort of take the momentum he was building from the game before Seattle and bring it into this game and try to get that elusive touchdown that he needs so badly. I think it's important for him to have a big game because he was, if I recall correctly, he was pretty upset that he didn't have the game he wanted when they played them last in the Super Bowl. So, okay, like let's get you the game you wanted. Let's show why the $30 million is in your bank account. I like Ayuk. I'm glad they got the deal done, but this is the game in the regular season where if we're going to have a big Ayuk performance, it would certainly help validate a lot of the support that has been thrown his way, and would certainly squash some of the doubters who are beginning to think that contract may have been a mistake. Obviously, Deebo, if he can play, that's great. Our running backs, Jordan Mason, I know he's day-to-day. It would be nice to have him for this one. But truthfully, I think just getting our playmakers active, because we don't have our leading running back and receiver from that Chiefs game. We don't. He's not there yet. So we need to find other ways to be successful.
No 11 targets for Deebo Samuel, please. Please, I'm begging you. He's no. Give those to Ayuk, give those to Kittle, and let them cook. And Jennings, too, man. Jennings has really opened my eyes this year, too. He stepped up in a big way. I completely agree with you. Use all your weapons. And you're right about Brock, by the way. Brock never left the field in the fourth quarter or overtime without giving his team the lead in the Super Bowl. Like, he was way down the list in terms of reasons why the 49ers didn't win that game. He's got a little bit of dog in him. Let him eat, man. Let him eat. Let them distribute the football, and let's go get it. And I hope that they do. I don't think they're going to, unfortunately. Like, I'll never pick the 49ers against the Chiefs until they actually beat them, because the Chiefs have owned them. They've owned them in the regular season. They've owned them in the playoffs. They've blown them out. They've beat them close. Whatever type of game it is, Kansas City always finds a way to win it. So I'm not going to pick the 49ers in this game. In fact, I actually bet on the Chiefs since they're getting points, which is ridiculous to me, but somehow that is the case. I hope I'm wrong. I'll never be happier to lose my money. But, yeah, there's a path for the Niners, but they got to play a complete game and a complementary game, and they have not done that this season.
Yeah, and we need special teams to not be the star of the show in the wrong way. And I would like to see Nick Bosa get home. These pressures are great. I want to see him get home. I want Patrick Mahomes to know what his fucking breath smells like, because he's on the ground with him on top. Like, I want that to be in his head, that Nick Bosa ate Chipotle limited time only brisket bowl. That's what I need, because truthfully, I think the more that we can disrupt the rhythm, because there are already playmakers not on the field for Patrick Mahomes. The one playmaker who is still on the field for him is Travis Kelce. And if it's one thing Travis Kelce is good at, it's bailing him out of a jam. And I want that to not be a possibility, because the one thing that always drives me up the fucking wall is watching Patrick Mahomes dance out of his sack, wiggle left, wiggle right. And as soon as that happens and I see him about to load up, I already know what's going to happen. It's a first down on a 3rd and fucking 45. And I'm like, this is demoralizing. These are the reasons why teams lose to you, because they think they have you and they don't. And so if we can get some of our defensive front to get home and get him on the ground, then maybe, just maybe, we might disrupt enough rhythm to be able to at least stifle that offense long enough to get enough points on the board.
Two of the most back-breaking scramblers in the NFL in this game. Mahomes and Purdy, they're very similar when it comes to scrambling. If you need 5, they'll get you 6. If you need 7, they'll get you 8. They'll find a way. It's going to be chaotic, but they'll find a way. They'll wiggle out. They'll make a guy miss, and they just find a way to do it. To me, those are the most back-breaking Mahomes plays, are not the throws, the scrambles, the runs, the way he eludes pass rushers and can just escape sacks. And sometimes he runs for a first down, but sometimes he just ends up throwing it away, whatever it is. But just the fact that, like, you got him, you don't got him, and you're fucked now. And it's just like, it just takes your spirit away. And so I thought they did a pretty good job containing Mahomes on the ground. I thought it was really interesting today that Nick Bosa said, now we'll have a plan for the zone read, which is kind of damning when you think about last year's game. But Mahomes said it himself this week. He said it's going to come down to 1 or 2 plays. And the Chiefs have always found a way to make those plays against the 49ers, and we'll see if it's different this Sunday.
I think this one is going to be extremely. This one means a lot more to the Niners than it does the Chiefs, for a million different reasons. For regular season reasons, for morale, for confidence. I mean, all of these things. The 49ers need this win pretty bad, and especially if we can get through this and then show up and play the Cowboys and put on what should hopefully be a dominant performance there. We go into the bye week feeling very, very, very good. And but it all starts here, and they know it. This is a game they've probably had circled since the moment it was announced. And I'm curious, is there any last things that we didn't cover that you're looking at as we go into this matchup?
last things. Well, I will say this. If they can somehow find a way to get the win, the NFC could come back to the 49ers in a big way this week because Seattle's playing Atlanta. Atlanta could easily win that game. Houston is playing Green Bay. I could see C.J. Stroud beating Jordan Love in that game. One of Minnesota or Detroit is going to lose because they're playing each other this week. So that's one of the two big dogs in the NFC right now that's going to have an extra loss. Tampa Bay is playing Baltimore, who looks like the best team in the league, like an absolute wrecking crew. The Ravens look like they could, if they handle Tampa Bay, that's another team with a better record than the 49ers that would have a loss. And then the Cardinals are playing the Chargers, who the Cardinals stink, and hopefully the Chargers can handle their business there. If the Niners somehow manage to get a win, there is a possibility that all of a sudden, after all the crap that we've gone through the first 6 weeks of this season, the Niners could be right in the thick of it in the NFC with a game against Dallas and a bye week coming up, where after the bye, you could get Christian McCaffrey and Dre Greenlaw back. So it could be a crazy world a week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, 100%. I think if we lose against the Chiefs, we're maybe angling wild card, maybe step above. But if we get through the Chiefs and we get through the Cowboys, it opens up an entirely different landscape of how the postseason could shape up. I still hold the postseason in my mind as a possibility because we're a good enough team to get there. I think it's just about how the chips are going to fall in the second half of the season. I think getting Christian McCaffrey back is huge. I think people are underestimating how big getting Dre Greenlaw is back. Maybe people forget, but that game probably would have been a different result had Dre Greenlaw not had that freak accident happen to him at the end there. So I completely agree. The landscape could completely shift, especially with the games that we have coming up these next 2 weeks, not just for our games, but the games of our respective competitors. Completely great point. I'm really glad you hit on that.
See, you got to have me on more often.
Don't tempt me with a good time, man. As soon as we get your echo thing dialed in, then dude, I'm just gonna have you as a sidekick. I think that's the plan. So here's the deal. We're going on to my next segment. Our echo issue creates an interesting wrinkle. First of all, it's called Affirmations. If you're just joining me for the first time and you don't know who I am or what I do here, I have a segment called Affirmations where, unlike Twitter, we fucking say nice things about people. We also say encouraging things. It doesn't have to be a player. It can be a coach. It could just be anyone you want. It could be the mail lady. It could be the person who could be your Subway sandwich artist. Doesn't matter. But because of this little echo conundrum, I'm not sure I can play the spa music. I mean, let me try. See what happens. Chat, I'm going to need you on this one. If it sounds echoey, we're going to go with plan B. All right, hold on. Okay. Wait for it. Okay. So let's test this out. I'm going to let you go first. I want you to pick a player, a person, anybody that you'd like to say kind or encouraging words about.
I would like to say kind or encouraging words about the National Football League for assigning Bill Vinovich to any other fucking game except the 49ers and the Chiefs. And thank God the NFL has done that, because Bill Vinovich and his non-holding calling ass are going to be at Seahawks Falcons instead of 49ers Chiefs. And that is a welcome sign for the Niners. It'll be Alan Eck and his crew referencing Niners Chiefs. So thank you, NFL referee, scheduler person. I really appreciate it. A grateful fan base is thankful.
Hey, technically that counts as a nice thing. Backhanded affirmations are some of my favorite, actually. I'm not going to say I encourage them, but I'm never going to stop them. Ricky Pearsall, dude, welcome back. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I remember where I was. First of all, I was already having an insane day. Like, the chaos was already at 11 that day. And then I was at a wedding. and I got a text on my phone, and my girlfriend's like, babe, what's wrong? I'm like, Ricky Pearsall just got shot. And she thought that was like my friend, because I said it with such like authority, like Ricky Pearsall. But he is a friend, god damn it.
Yes, sir.
He's all of our friends. He's our
Yes,
number one
sir.
pick. And even if he was unable, God forbid, even if he was unable to play a single down for the rest of his life, he would be so beloved in our hearts because we know how special of a guy he is. We know that he wants to do nothing but be the best version of himself on the field and otherwise. And we get the pleasure of watching him live his dream again. And to Ricky, you are probably doing way better things than listening to the show. But I just want you to know, we are thrilled that this dream of yours, likely since you were a kid, gets to continue. And whatever spirits or whatever intervened to keep you on this planet, we are so grateful. We know that everyone who loves you and is in your circle is so grateful. And I cannot wait to see you do your thing, doing the thing you love on the field.
Yes, sir.
All right, your turn.
100% agree on Ricky Pearsall. The fact that he is even alive is a miracle. The fact that he is playing football this season is 10 times a miracle. It's unbelievable to say. All right, we're doing affirmations. I'll give Brock Purdy some affirmations because the man is playing football on the highest difficulty level. For years, people said he's a check down merchant, he's a scheme merchant, you know, he's got the Avengers, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's had no Avengers this year. He's throwing the ball deeper down the field than anybody. He's getting less yak yards by anybody. The 49ers have 32% of their yards have come after the catch this season. That is the lowest in the league. The next closest is the Vikings at 40%. You know who's number one on that list? Patrick Mahomes. 64% of his yards have come after the catch. Brock Purdy is throwing the ball deeper down the field, in tighter windows, making more difficult throws than he has ever made in his career, and he is balling out. The Niners' offense is balling out. I know they've had red zone problems. They're going to get those straightened out, but Brock Purdy has taken a massive leap forward from last year, and I'm here for it.
That is so real. I've been a big Brock Purdy proponent on this show. Called him a great quarterback with authority. I'm excited to see how he continues to build. I love his scrambling. That's a nice little wrinkle that I've been seeing continue to blossom. I'm betting the over on his scramblings every year, probably. Let's see. I want to give a shout out to Isaac Guerrero. I think you're somebody who is in your rookie year and you're finding your footing. And I know it was hard to get those yards on your first carries, man. It felt like you were trying to chip away, and it just felt like you weren't getting what you wanted. And I can't even begin to wonder how good it felt to break off that 76-yard run and just know you were catching wind, just running into the skill set that you know you were drafted for, which is that quick fucking speed. I'm excited to see you get more confidence. I'm excited to see your vision develop. I know you have high aspirations for yourself. Maybe you haven't achieved them yet, but I hope that moment gave you confidence, put some wind underneath your wings, so that if necessary, if you got to step in behind Jordan Mason against the motherfucking Chiefs, that you feel like you belong in this league and that you are on the right team and in the right position to accomplish these objectives.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to hand it off to you. One last one for you, one last one for me.
I want to give this affirmation to Dominic Poonen. You have been nothing but outstanding from the second you've come in from the draft, Dominic Pooney. You have shored up a major hole in the 49ers offensive line, and you're going to face your biggest test of your career on Sunday because Chris Jones is coming to town. And Chris Jones is the best defensive tackle in the league. He's specifically in big moments, he has wrecked games. And you know what, Dominic Pooney? You're going to show up and show out on Sunday. Maybe you don't win every rep against Chris Jones, but you are going to make life miserable for that man. If he's going to get it, he's going to have to earn it. And you're going to announce your presence with authority that, hey, I'm not just a cool story. I'm not just better than Spencer Burford or John Feliciano. I'm Dominic fucking Pooney, and you're going to have to deal with me.
Yes, sir.
That's a good one, man. Pooney, man. Well, this whole draft class I've been very pleased with. I mean, the results are showing early. Obviously, much time for them to develop, but we're still in a good spot. This last one for me is going to go. This last one for me is going to go to. Forget the name of the fucking kicker that we just had. Hold on one second.
Right?
Yeah. So Matthew Wright, I know you just showed up, and you did a good job, man. You did what you had to do, and then you got a little hurt. Trying to put yourself. You did not make a business decision. You made a fucking 49ers decision.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You made a 49ers decision. And you know what? It may have cost you, but I want you to know I see you, brother. I see what you did. You laid yourself on the line for a team that you just joined. And I want you to know that we're grateful. I think in the future, I may not recommend kicker tackling as a strategy, but like I don't know, maybe just kind of like stick your leg out, but like pretend like it's an accident. But you know, you did what you had to do. Your instincts kicked in. That's what happened. Your instincts kicked in, and you said, "I'm not going to let him get past me." And I want you to know that I appreciate you for taking that initiative, even though it likely costs you more kicks on this team. So I appreciate you. I even love you. So you have that.
That's a 49er play right there. Matthew Wright laying it on the line, going for it. He knows it might cost him paychecks in the future. He did it anyway. Wouldn't have been an issue if the 49ers could learn how to cover a kick. That's another issue.
So, before this music's about to come to an end. So I'm gonna just use the last 20 seconds to say, my last affirmation goes to you. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being patient with the echo issue. Even though I think it's coming from your end, so I'm blaming you. Actually, is what's happening. But I've long loved seeing your takes on Twitter. We have many mutual friends. I really appreciate you coming on. Honestly, you're an amazing guest. Let's definitely do this again. I was so stoked to see that you were stoked to come on. So I just want you to know that you are appreciated, and that I'm really glad you were able to come. Hold on, let me give you an applause before I let you respond. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Have a feeling you were just trying to run out the last 20 seconds of that music bed, but that's cool, man. Respect the game. But no, look, there's a lot of people that do content for the 49ers. In fact, I don't think that there's a team that has more people that aren't beat writers that are covering this team. And I can say confidently, nobody does a show like you. Nobody else is doing what you're doing. So keep it up. I don't know anybody that dislikes your show. And I say that, look, I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. So thank you for having me on. I'd love to do it again. And keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome and we all love it.
We got a double yay. Uh-oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I get you into Echo Hell again, I'm going to sign off Rob Stats Guerrera, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to sign everyone else off, and then I'm going to go get a drink of water. Thanks for coming on, brother. All right. We did it. Man, these fucking technical errors. It's like, you know what's a shame too is I use a software that I really like, and it may be time for me to use a different one. I don't want to do it, but I might have to because I value you guys. I don't want you guys to be stressed out. I'm stressed out. I don't want you guys to be stressed out with me, brother. Sisters. We got ladies in the house. Shout out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ladies. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to sign off. My girl made some lasagna, so I'm going to eat that shit. Thank you for coming. We're going to beat the Chiefs. It's going to happen. Let's collectively manifest it. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to end with this comment from Jam18 that says, Sourdeath Sam is unique. Aww.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, on Friday, I'm going to hang out with my buddy Javi, friend of the show, and I'm going to get a car from him. So when I come back, I'm going to be a new car-ass motherfucker. So I'm going to sign off on that. Let's beat the Chiefs. Bye.